You recovered yet? No? Good, neither have I. Welcome back to EUCF 2024. After that sensational women's pre-quarter, we are straight into mixed quarter-final action, and it's an all-England affair with a replay of the UKU national final. Deep Space up against Reading. Benji Rees and Lorcan Murray in the booth. Deep Space starting on offense in the black, going left to right. And we're starting with 4 female matching players as well. Denniston looking for the inside to Naden, but it hits the turf. Reading want to strike quickly. Hutchison. Kemp now continuing to Klima. Into the centre. Now Hagan. Trying to find an option. Deep Space poaching off the front. Still got to be rising. Still able to fit it away. When puts a bit of air underneath it, Klima rises and catches. Lewis wants to provide a dump option. Instead, Naden gets the run through on the swing to Wen. Deep Space really locked it down. Caudron dishes off, and then Hawkyard down the far side for the score. Any guesses as to the scorer? It's Itamendi, the man spawned to score goals. Sorry, Larkin.
You've got to give me a second here, Benji, to catch up to the same pace in which you've been living for the last hour and a half. They don't give you a breath, but you're going to have to find some, because this is going to be a very, very exciting matchup. These teams know each other quite well.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, they've played 3 times this season.
Yeah.
3-0 to Deep Space, 2 Universe Point wins, and the most recent time they met up, 13-9 beating. That's got to be a little bit tough to overcome mentally, but talking to both teams beforehand, they know each other inside and out. They know their matchups.
Can I dip into my little book of cliches? That's actually quite a big book of cliches. It's like, when these two teams meet, you can throw the form book out the window, because they know when you know a team so well. Even if on the scoreboard the form says, you know what, actually this might not be that close, there is that little extra intensity and edge in a rivalry that, yeah, it does tend to breed close games.
And if you were to look it up on the almighty algorithm before this weekend, this is predicted to be a Universe Point victory for Deep Space, a prediction that, I gotta say, I'd agree with.
I feel like every time I've seen the algorithm prediction this weekend, it's been a Universe Point win for one side or another.
Maybe there isn't an algorithm. Maybe Ravi's just sitting in his room writing out Universe Point games.
I mean, here's the thing. I can't actually disprove that.
Can any of us? What we can prove is that these two teams are well versed in each other's best sets and what they like to do. And even talking to Deep Space beforehand, saying we try new things, we've been trying things out all season, but even that, very difficult to surprise.
I did say 4 female matching players last point. I meant 4 male matching players. Because with Alana Archer pulling, switch to 4 women now. Brew finds Nedic underneath. Plant up line, just about squeezing that through to Bignall. Bignall has a player slashing towards the open side, spears it into Jeffrey for the score. 1 apiece. Nice clean hold there for Reading.
Maybe a couple of hiccups on the first point, although I do think Naden getting a run through D is something you could probably expect to see a little bit more of as the game progresses.
Yeah, that's not necessarily an outlier.
But the interesting fact with Reading is they have O-leaning and D-leaning lines, as it is described, as opposed to strict O and D.
Leaning.
Leaning is what they'd say. But rotate them through Deep Space a bit more concrete in their assignments and roles. You mentioned Alana Archer. You expect that she's going to be stepping out on the D-line consistently. And it is interesting to see how Reading try to work through their players and give them all the different roles and almost the competition. Say if you get a break, you know the next team's going to have to go out on a break, and either you'll be on O or you'll be on a run. And it introduces this nice little competition to them that can kind of lift them up. And say what you want about the form book. It's very difficult to imagine that Reading don't have the fact they haven't beaten Deep Space this season in the back of their heads.
Oh, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, be like, they're gonna try harder. It's like, no, you always try your hardest, right? Because why wouldn't you? But yes, that's gonna be a bugbear, isn't it, for them, that they've not been able to get the one over. And full stop. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Delay of game. We've got flags off the field and they are whipping.
They certainly are. It's not as strong as it has been, but it's definitely upwind, downwind. And it's blowing towards the right-hand side of the screen as Cook picks up. The Australian, fresh off a campaign with the Barramundis out in the Gold Coast, the Australian mixed team. Oh, miscommunication between Caudron and Cook, but it's backed up well by Kate Gibson. Floater plucked down well and gunned deep. And the layout from Itamendi comes just shy. It was spicy from Dan Wilson, and it very nearly came off.
I think you're happy with taking that pass on. It was clear the structure they were trying to set up from the cutting move. It created a lot of space for Wilson to get that open side in a power position for a leading pass as well. Probably bladed a bit more than necessary with the wind behind you. You can sit that up and just let it drop down slightly more. And Itamendi, you said it earlier, he's always got steps.
Lewis picks up, and he really does have the power to muscle it against the wind. Wong. Squeezing it back to Lewis. Marcus Kelsey takes off deep. Hagen's in the area as well. He's tracking towards that right-hand side and hits the floor. Just trying to work out if there's been any infractions along the way. Hagen having a think before indicating she's calling the foul.
Absolutely monstrous bid from Marcus Kelsey.
It's a bit of a maelstrom underneath it. We did mention that they could bang it against the wind, case in point.
And that's so important to be able to have that expansiveness in both directions. Otherwise, defenses can clamp down on you, they can start to force you back under.
You get so compressed.
But again, it's an aspect of both these teams knowing each other inside out. There are players, they'd rather catch the disc. They know where the major threats are. They're not about to be surprised by any of these plays and be able to swarm like this.
It looks like, so Itamendi goes to swipe it with the right hand. Eventually he does get it with the left. Whether there's contact underneath it with Hagen, they've decided, I think, in the end, that if there was, it did not affect the play, and they are going to call that a turnover. Caudron, of course, someone who's intimately familiar with the Reading programme, having played there for a number of years. Caudron to Naden, who played Reading herself last campaign. Naden goes with the offhand back to Caudron. Caudron winds it up, looking for Baker. Wong in contest, but it's beyond everyone, and Dan Wilson comes out of nowhere for the score.
That's why you got to chase down those hucks. You got to play them so that they sit. I do think it's worth noting that that's 2 turns from 2 offensive points for deep space.
Yep. They've given Reading opportunities, but they've done well to earn those back. And you can see for both sides that stretching the field is going to be a key part of the game plan. Caudron can really open things up when she wants to, and she does again there. Sitting it on the wind, and Wilson just steams through in the back, somewhat unnoticed. And you can actually see that develop from this angle. Wilson originally wanted the undershot, and then saying, you know what, put it on the break side, but when it goes up, he tracks it, even if he wasn't the intended target, and he gets his reward.
That was fantastic. I'm pretty sure that was Andy Lewis, who came off Wilson, coming under to try and stop the pop to Caudron in the power position. He recognized the up-the-line cut happening, poached off, and was calling for help on the backside, which nobody else was able to pick up on the Reading line, which let Wilson with that free run all the way to the end zone. We'll see if Reading's offense looks as smooth and clinical as it was on the first point.
Brew with the calls of Hucker from the sideline, which I would say they've done their homework, but I don't think that's it. That's exactly cracking Fermat's last theorem. Nedic. Now to Colicchio. Leading it back to Brew. Fizzes it through the inside window to Bignall. Bignall shooting it again. Players in the area. And it's downtown Joe Brown with the grab and the score.
Great use of his body to get into that position. Reading working the open side really effectively. Creating space for each other so there's not too much crowding. The deep space were on every shoulder. There wasn't a huge amount of separation. There is a huge amount of trust on this team.
Oh, yes.
And that just comes from playing together for such a long time. Reading, such an established club at Europe. Over 100 members, big trainings, grown from the grassroots.
Those of you who... Sorry, carry on.
It just leads to that kind of trust.
Sorry to cut you off. I was going to say that if you watch the EUCF preview show, the in and out show on Monday, I mentioned that you will see times at Reading was like they throw it for a score, it wasn't open. Because they have that trust, and you know they've got big bodies downfield, that it does help when you can win those 50-50s at times, but it is those trust throws where they fit it into tight windows and they back their players to come down on the receiving end of it.
So right now the Reading lines as they come out here have been strict O&D, but that's only because that's how the game is going so far. Once Reading either get a break or get broken, that's where you start to see the interesting mix-up between their lines.
Going with the rolling ball out of the sideline.
And I've liked the shots that Deep Space have taken on so far in this game. I don't think it's huge errors that have led to their turnovers.
Squires goes back to Cook, and he finds Caudron. A very potent backfield combination. On the inside window, fizzed it into Squires. Must have probably seen it late as well with so much congestion near Caudron, and he couldn't stick it in the left hand. Great break chance here for Reading. Hutchison picks up. Using that lefty angle to find the inside through. Withers. Finds an open player. That had stopped a fair few seconds ago.
Yeah, I think that was help defense coming across slightly too late. Interesting 1-6 setup, and as soon as I saw that, I goes, this is an attack to the break side. How is this not an attack to the break side? Lovely layout backhand throw though.
See, on the one hand you look at it and I'm like you, I say okay, I see what's going on here, but then if you overcommit to stop that, oh well, if I'll just get it open side instead.
Well, I think the best end zone defense is the clamp, and a 1-6 is basically saying please clamp us.
Lorcan, it's begging for a clamp. I'm so with you.
You gotta clamp.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's always been my approach. Or just work less.
I mean, there's a reason we are kindred spirits. And we are also in here and not out there.
They are clamping there to an extent.
But it didn't matter because they worked their way around it. And Greer sits it into space, and Reading with the game's first break against the wind as well. They will take a 3-2 advantage.
As you have a look here, you can see Denniston there has initiated the clamp, but how do you beat a clamp? You run all the way to the sideline. That's exactly what they did. Brilliant disc to space. It's got to be quick enough to get there before the defender, but well weighted enough so that it doesn't fly out of bounds. That is a much more difficult throw, bearing in mind upwind and a flick. The amount of touch that had to be put on that throw is an elite level. And that's what Reading are showing right now, that they are at that elite level. 3-2 up, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Now the O-leaning line for Reading are coming out on defense. And that D-leaning line for Reading turned a deep space every point they got. So can the same happen?
Yeah, Reading 3, deep space 2. The scoreboard ticks over there. And Reading now, you've got an upwind. Can you get the downwind and really bank that? It's not as upwind downwind as it has been in
It's
parts,
not as upwind downwind, and then you look at that deep
but
space line and there's plenty of throwers, well, 2 throwers on it who feel very comfortable sitting into it and launching. So I don't think it's as definitive an upwind downwind as possible.
No, but it certainly there is one direction which is easier to score in than the other. Airing the pull out, Squires watches it into the bucket. Was almost cupcake-esque, that. Naden initiates. Now they're trying to get Gibson underneath, but good coverage there from Lou. Back instead to Hawkyard. And now Itamendi. as Nikki Kovshov does some cable covering on the sideline. And that one goes into the hand and
That
into the
is-
turf. Karia.
At least the third deep space turnover that's a thrower error. The theory is good.
That time the shot was looking for Brown. He's on the floor a little bit frustrated. I think maybe more with a lost opportunity rather than anyone or anything in particular. It's Thompson who was given the license to shoot. It's a little bit awkward because the disc is fading and he's trying to catch it in that right hand as he comes down. Maybe he had a little bit more time, but then at the angle his body's at, it's tricky.
He got turned around by the disc.
Caudron now into Gibson in the centre. Wants to get it off. It's floating, but Caudron has plenty of time, and I think there was a little toe tap anyway, just in case. Naden finds Baker on that inside window. Shows the backhand and shoves and goes to Squires. Trying to work down the far sideline. Itamendi to Caudron at midfield now. Caudron, Gibson's open, but Liu was on the floor, and I imagine there's been some contact.
I would describe that as suspiciously open, but that's exactly what I thought coming into this. Like, you know, Caudron's got that throw, is more than happy to take it on, launch it downfield. I would say Squires can as well, more in a leading pass style. But even that pop pass, I think it was Gibson to Caudron, nearly throwing Caudron out of bounds on the sideline.
It's one of those where if you get a little bit sloppy, it will punish you. If you keep focus and make sure you maintain your fundamentals, I think you should be fine. But yeah, when you take your eye off the ball, metaphorically rather than literally, because obviously it's a disc, right? But you know, once you, especially I think later in game, we'll see it more when you get a bit more tired.
I think we're seeing it now. That's the thing that is kind of shocking me. Deep space looks sloppy. The cutting is good, but the throws, like, they're making good moves into space, open players. The throws are letting them down.
So the disc is going to go back here, it seems, to Caudron. And we are now in play. Squires burrows underneath Brown there on that slashing en passant cut. Now it's Naden's turn to activate open side beyond Brew. Brew calls the travel against a GB teammate. Across to Hawkyard, spreading it to Itamendi. Itamendi with that lovely leading offhand backhand with the lefty to Hawkyard for the score, and deep space knotted at threes.
Second time of asking for the third time in a row. Itamendi, that's a little bit of Spain Open for you. The offhand backhand scoop. That's the kind of play that can help you beat Italy. Whoop. And then still finish below them in the rankings.
Where was that?
Last year.
They beat
Euros.
it. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Really big win, incredible game, absolutely delighted. Itamendi was brilliant, Romano as well. A bunch of the Spanish, they were brilliant together, but kind of fell apart a little bit afterwards. Not the focus right now. Reading tied at threes, but they've stolen serve.
Yeah, they've got that. They're trading up at the moment, that one break as well.
This is the big thing though, this line has only played D-line points so far. So this is the Reading line that's turned it over. I suppose the other one did turn over on that previous point for the first time.
But yes, I do see your point. They've not been flawless, but this is the tougher direction. Reading 3, deep space 3.
It's an exciting matchup. Who saw this coming?
I did. I think you did as well. That's why we put it on stream. Hutchison finds a little bit of space in front of Fisher. Good to see Fish back, isn't it, after that collarbone injury early invite. Really, I mean, sucked a little bit of life out of deep space that weekend. after they were so impressive in the opening stages of the tournament. Lewis gets Kovshov biting on the backhand, and Klima in the front of the end zone finds Zaza Kemp for the score. Reading on top 4-3.
Kemp. Sorry, I don't know her well enough, nor is Zaza. But Kemp, yeah, very difficult to shut down. Huge fan of Klima. Quick movement. Normally, like more traditionally on the defensive side is where she shines, but very reliable with the disc. Just before this pass, there was a great matchup between Greer and Tate, and I'm massive.
That's a big
on
man
Tate.
matchup.
It's a big man matchup. I'm very, very big on Ian Tate after watching his performance throughout the season, especially at UK Nats. I thought, think big man, but actually bring some versatility to it and can shut people down. Greer just took him for a walk around the park.
I mean, you say you're big on Tate. I think Tate's big on me, but then most people are big on me, let's be fair.
That jumper's big on you, buddy.
Trust me, unfortunately it is not. Once upon a time. Reading with their noses back in front, 4-3 they lead.
I think we're taking control of our height problems throughout life by growing bellies instead.
It's not a
width is still a size.
What do you mean problems? I've got no problems with it. People make short jokes and they're like, "Oh, are you offended?" I'm like, no, it's not a surprise to me that I'm 5'4". I'm well aware.
I didn't wake up this morning and go, wait a second.
Didn't I used to be 7'3"? No, I did not.
Prince is one of the greatest musicians of all time, and he was 5 foot.
Yeah.
It's right now.
So true.
Reading get the upwind, and that's both lines now with a flawless hold.
Yeah, that sky-scraping pull fielded by Deep Space. Denniston on the reach. Motions for the big one, but no, underneath instead. Wilson. Squires wants it on the inside window and finds it. Again, firing it, fizzing it in that tight space. Denniston falls over on the floor, and it doesn't matter anyway as Dan Wilson gets another goal to tie us up at 4 apiece.
And that's the best their offense has looked at the first sight, shall we say, the first possession on a point. So Deep Space growing into this game, and look, these teams go back and forth at will. At each other's will, I suppose. So expect a couple more changes throughout it. 4-4 right now with Reading in the advantage, but Deep Space starting to look a bit more comfortable. The transition from last year, obviously the reigning European champions. Very small amount of roster changes, but they seem to have managed them quite well, Benji.
Yeah, I mean, losing Axel Armela is huge. He was enormous for them all season, but especially on that, that tournament run to the unexpected EUCF gold. And
literally and figuratively.
He will be a loss, no doubting that, but I mean, you're not exactly bringing bad players in, are you? You've mentioned Tate, Rachel Noney, that's a TV World Games player coming in. You've got both Jack and Sarah Hawkyard, who are, already excellent, but have still got so much more room to grow, I think, as well, like continuing to improve. Yeah, they've retooled themselves well. Deep Space 4, Reading 4 then here. Mixed quarterfinal action at EUCF 2024. Tied at 4s here early on in this game between the two UK powerhouses, Reading and Deep Space. Both at one point European champions. For Deep Space, they are the current reigning and defending European champions after that hellacious Universe point win over Chrit in last year's final, and really spoiled their retirement party in the mixed division.
Yes, which I'm sure was felt with differing emotions across the continent. Fighting champions as well, 18-3 throughout the European qualification season. I mean, they showed up, they put in work, and they know how to react to situations, to challenges. That was their timeout that they called after scoring the point. You've got to imagine they're going to come out strong D-line and try and take back serve.
Yeah, everyone loves a fighting champion, and no team in the mixed division registered more EUCS games this campaign than Deep Space, and somehow Klima's offhand squeaks past the bit of row. Deep space sideline ratcheting up in intensity. Looking very cluttered and congested, and Wong sticks the tough catch. Now Lewis. Will he want to add an element of verticality to their offense? Well, he's not going to do it with his throws, but I think he's going to stretch the field going long up against Kovshov. Archer's in the area as well. Absolute skyball, and Kovshov had better position, and there was nothing Lewis could do.
That's a Lewis sandwich right there, and the deep space defense gobbled it up. Brilliant help from Archer to come on the weak side, allowing Kovshov to just swing around to the front. And at that point, there's no bid to be made. The disc trailing slightly away from Lewis as well. So Deep Space, the opportunity to take the lead back.
Yeah, Deep Space did start this game on offense, but that's not the way to do it. Floated it and easily picked off, but Reading give it right back.
Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Swinging across then to Millard. Now Naden. It's going to air it out long, trying to create the box out deep. She fell over at the end of it. Otherwise, you can be pretty sure that she would have had a very good shot at it, Yen.
And going left to right with the slight wind advantage, basically all these deep space players can put that sort of leading pass with some sit. Just a little bit unfortunate on the read.
They just couldn't quite keep the feet churning and moving. And it fades agonizingly in front. So the isolation off the front to Wong well. Lewis to Hutchison. Now finds Kemp. We talked about some deep space players who are formerly of Reading. Kemp's one of those who's gone the other way. Greer to Wong. Back into the backfield. Withers looking for Klima. Clutches in the left hand. Fizzes to Kemp, being marked by Archer. Kemp wants to get it off the line, but she hasn't really got any support, so tries to get the inside flick through. It was a tough throw and it fluttered away in the end. But in that situation, just left too isolated. So Deep Space then, on the edge of the red zone. Can they get themselves over the precipice of the end zone? Rowe shows the down line but shelves it. Cut develops late on. Lewis tries to flash in and doesn't get there. Naden swinging all the way across. Archer just chooses to catch first because they can get it in with the next throw. Archer to Kovshov brings us back on serves and puts Deep Space back on top since the first point of the game.
Classic dump swing move by Deep Space. Big credit has to go to Naden and Rowe for getting things going as the point started. We have another look here. This was the turnover. Something I thought was quite interesting. So Reading playing 1-6 down the pitch. So the dump always comes from the stack and attacks towards the handlers. Every time players were clearing, they were clearing around wide and then heading back into the stack rather than looking for the uprushing handler pop, which so many other teams do. It was working really, really well until they hit the end zone, at which point they tried to set up the 2-5, and that's where they got stuck. So curious approach to the dumping, and it worked right up until they ran out of space to pull it off. And Deep Space punished them on the second chance.
Yeah, running out of vertical and horizontal space, of course, when you're pinned on that sideline. Deep Space 5, Reading 4, both sides with the one break. Reading took an early lead, and Deep Space have now wrestled that back.
We expected this coming into it, though, Benji. It's going to go back and forth. The timeout call before that point, Deep Space wanted to take control of the matchup. They wanted to put out one of their strongest D-line. They recognize now is the time to take it. We can't let Reading go into half. A 2-point gap might win this match.
A one-point gap might win this match, given that 2 of their 3 meetings this season have gone to Universe. And both of those, Deep Space had big leads and Reading clawed it back. Only for Deep Space to just about hold them off in the end.
And to hold on, but that's that championship pedigree. It was the same when they went up against Grut in the final. Both teams got the disc on that final point.
Both teams had it twice, I think.
Yep, and Deep Space come away with the win.
Did indeed. And yeah, in the end, that game came down to the flip. So it's a good job that Deep Space won and chose offense. Wait. I've beat this dead horse multiple times now. Why do you pick defense? Thompson to Bignall. Jeffrey's in plenty of space. Still ticking up, tries to fit it in to the big man Colicchio. And Colicchio, oh, I think he put too much air under that one. And Karia couldn't track it, but I think he might be calling the foul here.
That is a classic bailout foul. Just a bit too eager to come and help out on the defensive side. And in the end, it costs you. Because I got to agree, like, by Zhang, that is a foul. They've committed fouls. You have another look here. Like you say, Colicchio gets it, immediately puts it up, immediately regrets it. But there's a bailout touch just getting... What do you think, Benji? Do you think that's a legitimate foul call?
So it looks like Kari is trying to backpedal, and maybe you could say, okay, you can have a look round and see that the defender's there, but also Zhang's come so close that not really giving Kari any room to do anything. I totally get why he's called it, but he is retracting the call, and turnover will stand.
I think that's understandable given where the disc was at the time. If it had been a little bit lower, but that's the nature of the bailout foul, and huge credit for retracting it, because most people, I think, if that happens at 13-12, that doesn't get retracted.
Certainly, I've seen games where that would not be retracted.
I think, to be clear, I think that's a legitimate foul call.
But I think part of that is because these two teams know each other, they trust each other that, okay, you know what, yeah, get a different opinion. Okay, fair enough. Deep space now, having to work from their own end zone if they are to get this break. As they get the flick off to Tate, and Tate opens up the arm, he uncorks a howitzer looking for Potter. What a throw! Potter wanted to get a reset off, couldn't find it instantly. Instead it's Tate who opened up all those yards with that big old boost, who collects the reset, and now leads Denniston. Denniston looking for the goal, but it's off the hand.
That's incredible pressure. Full commitment on the defensive side. Like I always say that to players, if you lay out, you just start to introduce doubt into your opponents. As long as you're doing it clean, you don't need to get the disc to be successful.
Here's Ray. Centers to Bignall, and miscommunication with Karia. Feel like that maybe is a bit of the added intensity. You second guess and you double cut and you double pump, and you're not on the same page. Potter picks up. Breaking around, leading Tate to space, lovely throw. Colicchio unsighted, looks around. What was my call? I didn't know. And it's too late. Deep space break again. That's 3 in a row now for 6-4.
For all their early uncertainty, Deep Space taking a commanding lead in the half. The first to go 2 points up, like you say, 3 in a row. And you think here, Reading are going to then take it and be able to march it right back down. But it's so... How many times have we seen this the turnover that they committed? How many times have we seen just immediate pickup and break backhand? Brilliant throws. Deep Space, great throwers throughout the squad. And threats all across it. That's not an easy put to sit it there. Bear in mind, ever so slightly upwind as well.
Yeah, Emily Potter. I think if it's kind of someone that people are not familiar with, then they will be soon. Played under 24 Worlds last year, was on the training squad for GB Mix this season as well, and I know that they were very impressed with with her performances in those trainings, helping the squad, coming as be part of a larger setup at tournaments as well. Yeah, she's got a very bright future.
Very smart player as well. Was one of the coaches for the GB women's team last year at under 24s. So, brings the intelligence and the burgeoning athletic ability.
Very true. Timeout then on the field. Deep Space 6, Reading 4 here at EUCF. Hello everyone, welcome back to EUCF 2024. Benji Rees, Lorcan Murray, pleasure to have you with us here for this mixed quarter-final all UK affair, Deep Space versus Reading. Deep Space having conceded an early break, 3 on a row for them now, and they have a 6-4 advantage.
The championship pedigree coming to the fore with that run. First the hold, then the timeout, and then back-to-back breaks, recognizing the moment. They've been here before, and they want to continue to where they got to last year. Again, the top of the mountain. So the 2-point lead, which honestly could be definitive. We'll see how Reading respond.
Yeah, all the mixed quarterfinals are taking place at the moment. On the field behind us, we have Seskidistas up 6-3 on Savage. Sorry, that's on the VO fields, as is TC Tauca versus Disconnection. That's 6-5 to TC Tauca. And Tartu Turbulence have a 6-4 lead on Mosquitoes. In towards the centre. Showing and shoving the backhand, and the throw's too far. It faded away from Thompson.
And the throwing errors that seem to be bothering, not plaguing so much, but bothering Deep Space have been transferred over to Reading.
Gilboy looking down the line. Fits that one into Hill. All the way across. Oh, that's a floater. And it wouldn't quite drop in the back of the end zone either.
Difficult one, overshot. That first throw from Gilboy was incredible. Break side leading flick, perfectly sat.
And then Kovshov just couldn't quite hook up with Archer. And it wasn't there for the save at the back.
Great work by Ray as coming across to make sure that disc has to go over the top, right? Shuts off the easier angle and forces a more difficult pass that leads to a turnover.
Brew fakes down the line, then gets the inside to Klima, who continues the break side to Greer. They want more, and they have it with Lewis. Lewis to Thompson. It's to slide to her knees. Oh, what a beautiful throw that is. And Greer milks it as well. Gets on the float and takes it for all it's worth. Thompson looking inside again, and Klima to Brew. You can tell that they're trying to get themselves a little bit fired up, and at the second time of asking, there were some pretty sweet frisbee in there.
Yeah, after the inside flick break turnover, do we get more conservative? No, let's just get better. We know we have these throws, and some of them were truly incredible, including this one right here.
I love it when a player really sits down on an inside flick.
Yeah. I love that, and I love it when people like stand back and then really step into a huge flick hook. The old drop shot.
They create that space well, and it's Brew just following the play, pushing forward to collect that little pop-off for a score.
And it's good structure for Reading. The 1-6 again this time, but with a diagonal stack. I always like to see the diagonal stack popped out to get them out of one of the difficult corners downwind. And they flow all the way up the pitch to make it 6-5 back at it. For now, you imagine they're going to keep running their O-line, D-line leaning setup rather than tightening up the reins and going full squad strength right now.
Deep Space 6, Reading 5.
We'd be curious to see Reading try and mix it up on the defensive side a little bit more. Go with something of maybe not entirely a zone yet, but a poach would be nice. Like an upwind, downwind clamp to try and bait some deep shots.
Lewis going with the sky-scraping blade off the pool. Caudron and Cook will play it between themselves for a little bit before getting others involved. It'll shoulder shimmy, looking for Denniston, but deciding against it. To Baker, it's a little bit late and a little bit behind. If you're going for the inside, it's got to go early, otherwise it's an around, please. As Cook found out, to his detriment. Floated that one for Brew. Now Nedic in the centre. Breaks around to Lewis. Lewis wanted an option down the line, didn't see it. Back to Nedis instead, just happy to keep resetting and keep things ticking over at the moment because they're not necessarily getting too much separation downfield. That little jab step in the cut from Lewis will help. And Lewis, I think, maybe just got a little bit of a shoulder into the face.
It's a very exciting matchup. Lewis and Cook, well established on the UK mixed scene.
Reading probably about 10-15 metres away from breaking out the brake monkey.
Did they decide to go with that? You know what? Let's see. Let it surprise me.
I really hope they did, because I thought it was hilarious, because it was very annoying.
It was hilarious in the canteen of the hotel.
Yeah.
Not sure how hilarious it would be in the pitch quarterfinals.
Yeah,
I think.
I think you need that element of fun
levity
to stay. Yeah, you need to stay a little bit loose. What's that phrase? Levity is the soul of wit? Who knows, as Lewis leads towards the break side. Brew scoops it in, and we're back level at 6 apiece.
That was a really great catch. The around backhand instead of an inside. Like you say, the inside's got to go early. The backhands, you can lead a bit more. But that one, just about at the full extension cuticle grab, and Reading tie it right back up at 6-6. I don't see any monkeys coming out, though.
No. Just no monkeying around going on here.
It's serious business. And after an early slip, they've managed to peel back the layers of deep space offense.
See, Baker has to try and chop the feet and stop, and the disc is behind, and she's turning, and then off the put in Lewis with the edge, and it's a tough catch for Brew. When you're lunging low and it's close to your ankles, it's so easy to just jar it loose from your grip. But no, Reading tie it up at 6 each.
So right back tied up 6-6. This is what we expected coming into the game. It's going to go back and forth. There's going to be lead changes. Very intense, but also very well-spirited. These teams know each other incredibly intimately. So I think there's still plenty of surprises to come out. Well, this is the last time they'll be facing this season.
Well, here's the thing as well. Because this game started a little late on our clock, we've actually had a half-time cap. So we're actually at 6s and on a Galaxy point with half at 7, I heard from the sideline.
There's still a small measure of confusion on the front as Cauldron hits Naden.
It seems like the dreaded half-time cap misimplementation may have happened. Here's Itamendi. Back into Squires, who continues around, looking for Hawkyard. All the way across. Hustled by Squires, and now Itamendi. Wants to see if he can get it off the line. It's going to sit up there, but Squires up against the bigger Greer brings it down, but the continuation is too low for Cook.
And a very similar throw to the one that Brew caught, just goes a bit too far for Cook. Shows you the margins are minimal. After such a lovely catch as well.
You can see the frustration etched on Squire's face. We've got to flip the switch and get it back, and Hutchison with a meteor downfield. Squires nearly did enough against Greer. Just take the dish off to Withers. And back to Greer for the score. I thought maybe they'd lost that momentum they'd gained when Greer held it, but he maybe a second too later than he should have done. He took that reset to Withers, got the disc back, and Reading's turn now to get 3 in a row to take a 7-6 lead.
With half will be at 8, just to clarify, but that is, I don't care how leaning your lines are, textbook D-line offense. Soon as you get the chance, rip it, and we'll work it out once we're down the end zone. Nice little bit of a bobble just to hold on. And great follow-through support to finish it off. Reading take the lead. That was an incredible throw.
I mean, how long has Hutchison been doing that? And it's one thing to know it's coming. It's another thing to stop it.
15 years he's been playing, and I'd say he's had that throw for 13 of them.
It's probably about right, yeah.
Started at the University of Birmingham.
Yeah,
Actually played with Birmingham in EUCF 2014.
Yeah, Birmingham Ultimate in the mixed division, of course. Yeah, timeout on the field then. Reading 7, Deep Space 6, mixed quarterfinals of EUCF.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
Reading 7, Deep Space 6, the reigning European champions up against, well, maybe the opponent they are most familiar with, a former European champion themselves in Reading.
There's Reading also finishing 8th at the World Ultimate Club Championships in 2022. So no strangers to the highest level of European competition.
International competition.
International competition even. I have to say, when they went up against Groot, I thought it was going to be an absolute slobber knocker. I believe in the quarterfinals of this tournament last year, Groot kind of just took care of them. So this bounce back has been very impressive.
Semi-finals, I think, because I think Reading ended up in bronze medal position. Reading looking to break into half then. Cauldron across to Hawkyard. Hawkyard, he's going to gun it. That flicks blades early, and Naden with a superb catch falling over. What body control and what poise from Naden. Tate. Back to Hawkyard. A couple of the big men connecting in the short game. Hawkyard and Tate just running it between themselves. He saw the peel coming and he slashed underneath. Now Kovshov. Cauldron trying to take the upline space. No. Hawkyard clears through. Kovshov just jams it in the jam hole to Naden, and we got ourselves a Galaxy point.
That's what everybody wanted, certainly everybody in this booth, and we assume everybody at home as well. Like you said, the peel, the switch between the Reading defenders, really well done. Lewis was standing off Hawkyard for a lot. Once the hook was completed, really give him space so he could step into the lane. Hawkyard made a fantastic job of taking advantage of that. And while I wasn't involved in the final exchange, played a huge role in setting them up on the front corner. Naden, just so difficult to stop.
Yeah, the adjustment she made on that underthrow and deep hut from Hawkyard was superb. Excellent body control.
And under so much pressure as well. Not only to turn around and get a hand to it, but
there are bodies in the area. It's not as if it's, okay, sure, it's a difficult catch, but there's no one around you. That was tricky in the extreme.
Today in EUCF style, the leopard print. Is it back, Benji?
I'll be honest, I don't think it's as good as the Ulti TV deck chair style sun hoodies or our fashionable weather jackets. Thanks, Force. Appreciate you.
The weather jackets, I'd say, are fashionable. The tent style hoodies looks like they should be on the walls of a clown hospital, but it makes us easy to spot.
Exactly. You see the vision, right? Because the most important thing in any broadcast is us. As Lorcan is so excited that he falls over. Well done.
It's Galaxy Point, and there is a timeout as the two teams prepare for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Klima and Brew just going through maybe some line calling there, potentially. Connor Hogan is such a big emotional presence for this Reading side. Injured at the moment, but of course he'll be trying to G up the troops here. Assuming he's calmed down from being in the booth with me for the women's pre-quarter, and we had a whale of a time.
I think it's a matter of him needing a little bit of time to catch his breath, settle his mind, and then get ready for this quarter-final. But like you say, an emotional leader and still an important part of the squad, even from the sideline. But that's the thing with Reading, it's a very emotionally sound squad throughout them. You don't see them lose it too often.
Yeah, half times in the other mixed quarterfinals, by the way. Tiefse Taucher 8, Disconnection 7. That game may be a little bit closer than people might thought. Seskidistas 8, Savage 5, and Mosquito 6, Tartu Turbulence 8. So after, a slightly, if you'll excuse the pun, turbulent pool for Tartu. they could well end up in the semi-finals.
And it is curious. Tartu, of course, with some injuries to some significant players. I mean, we've been bigging up the Rising Star Rabba, who got out of a walking boot like a month ago. Jakob Tam is basically just painkillering his way through his ankle. That extra game might wear on them as it goes on. Mosquitoes coming in fresh after topping their pool yesterday. So that's a second half you'd really want to keep an eye on. Although, maybe go double screen, because I don't think you want to leave this one either. We got Galaxy Point, Benji.
Yeah, the way the bracket shakes out, by the way, the winner of this game plays the winner of Saskadistas versus Savage, and it'll be the winner of TFC Disconnection against Mosquitoes or Tartu. So low, Klima to Wong, and Tariq crashes in front of Greer, and Greer takes the opportunity to take off deep. Lewis instead goes low to Klima, and she can't cling on.
Now, Deep Space Stars will trek to the end zone.
It's Gilboy to pick up. He finds Tate. And the Scotsman just dishes it underneath. Denniston trying to spread it into the front of the end zone. And Denniston to Naden takes us into half with Deep Space breaking on Galaxy Point. We're on serve at 8-7.
Last chance they had to get back at it, coming out from the timeout again. Really great use of timeouts in these games,
yes,
from both teams.
Correct.
Picking their moments, again, understanding each other, but also understanding the situation that they're in. It is tight right now, and it's going to stay that way throughout this game.
It is tight, as you like. Have a look at it now. Tate just waiting for Denniston to initiate from that far side, and then Denniston fits it in to Naden for the score. And you don't necessarily need big windows when you've got players like Denniston and Naden, because if they've got position, and a lot of the time even if they don't have position, they can catch, and it's just a finesse throw, really, nothing too outrageous, but the perfect weight on it to give Deep Space the half-time lead, up 1-8-7 in a game that's really had big swings of momentum, Lorcan.
And both these teams, because they know each other so well, they're right on every shoulder. You've got to take those chances pretty quickly and recognize the opportunities when they come. Even the turnovers that we've seen, like the turnover right there, there is pressure coming down and the wind's starting to get a little bit gustier. So right now there's not a huge amount in between them. When one seems to be rising, the other one, it's because the other one's made just small mistakes and is getting punished for it. It does feel to me right now this game is being decided by mistakes. As few as the errors are, it's been errors, not so much huge defensive plays.
It might come down to who can just clean things up a little bit more quickly. 8-7 then, Deep Space up, half-time in this mixed quarter-final.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
I must admit, I am looking forward to WBUCC, but I haven't really thought too much about it. Just kind of smiled warmly because I've been so focused on EUCF, and it has delivered in spades. This mixed quarter-final is doing exactly the same, not that we had any doubts that it wouldn't. Deep Space 8, Reading 7. Benjamin Rees alongside Lorcan Murray for you with the best seats in the house here on the sidelines.
It is a privilege to watch these two European titans go up against each other. Reading, who really put UK mixed on the map, taking on the legacy. Really, I suppose, of Bear Cavalry. You're more of the UK historian, because European mix ultimate, there's always been at least one UK team in the mix, and it seemed like there was a natural transition from, I think, Bear Cavalry to Reading, and Reading then winning their title and battling out, basically being Groot's rivals for a lot of their run, and then that's Deep Space have stepped up again. Am I missing a team there?
Yeah, Brighton were European champions ex-EUCF back in 2000.
I would have thought they would come before Bear Cavalry. I thought
yes,
Bear Cavalry were like
and
2010 to...
And then Bear Cav kind of for that next world cycle from, yeah, so won EUCF in 2009, and then were at Worlds in 2010, and then it was kind of Bearcav who were on top all the way through up until WCC in Lecco, where they lost in their round of 16 game to Cambridge. It's the first time they'd lost to them all cycle, and then after Cambridge it's kind of Reading, and then Deep Space have kind of now picked up the mantle from them there. Although I think Reading will probably agree to disagree with that and say, hey, yes, you're European champions now, but can you do it over that consistent time period like we have? Because over the last decade or so, they've always been in medal contention, and that's so tough. Brown opening things up. He's looking for Colicchio. Colicchio spins and catches, and he gets it out of his hands quickly to Caria. That is exactly how Reading wanted to begin this second half.
Smooth flowing play. They're going both sides across the pitch. They can work the unders until the opportunity for a decent deep shot comes along. And as we said, there's so much disc skills across these teams. CJ Colicchio, something of an import, originally coming from upstate New York, out near Rochester.
Upstate.
Moving up, he's actually played at the Masters level as well at PAUK last year, and played with Temper, the Pittsburgh team. So he's been a little bit around, plenty of experience, and that's something that Reading are always going to respect and be able to get the best out of it. The catch, the sit, and the throw, very similar to Denison. Just as soon as you catch, you move into the throw and ready to continue it on. That's how fast you've got to be able to play.
He's a teacher by trade, and I think he's one of those teachers that you wouldn't want to necessarily get on the bad side of.
Did you have teachers that you wanted to get on the bad side of?
Me? No, obviously not. Are you kidding? Have you met me? But yeah, certainly, you know, there are some teachers that you feel like you can take liberties and take advantage of.
You can get away with a couple of things.
Yeah.
Like
I would not try it.
I always expect there to be more teachers than there are in Ultimate.
I think there's a fair few teachers.
There's quite a few, but get the summer off. What else are you going to do with it?
Well, the problem is that like our biggest tournaments are in the autumn, when.
Well, that was always a problem for Gentle Ladies, wasn't it? Like a lot of their team was teachers, and that's why they would.
Well, if you think about. Even with, you know, like Worlds was in September this year, but in previous cycles, you know, like Worlds has been in July time, and that is, you know, depending on when that falls, that's right at the end of the calendar, and it's tough for teachers to get a week off. I remember having that discussion with some of GB Mixed after Dure in 2019, that, you know, hey, like, we had to fight really hard to be able to actually make the team, because we couldn't guarantee we'd get the time off.
So we have a look. Deep Space want to continue their lead.
I think the roll was maybe stopped prematurely, so Cook, I think, is just going to take it out and bring it back in again. Or nah, they're just going to say, you know what, it's fine. Who really cares?
I love that as a pull. Trap him on the sideline.
But they do get Caudron in that power position, and she pivots around down the centre of the field, but there's traffic there, and Greer swats it down.
A great step across to force the Huck over the stack.
Hutchison, that is a pick.
So I really like that pull, and then really smart defense from Deep Space to generate the turn. Or sorry, from Reading to generate the turn.
Hutchison to Greer, who gives it right back. Cook breaking, looking for Wilson, who's had a superb game so far, and that continues as Wilson puts Deep Space back on top.
Another close one. It's tough to catch a disc when it's thrown directly at your knees. But again, that's an error. Most of the turnovers have been errors.
You could say, okay, maybe that's the throw for being too low. Maybe it's the catch because it's not in an ideal position, but you back yourself to make that. True. I just think the turnover previously that Reading got was one of the rare, like, that's clearly a tactical decision they've made and it's led to a turnover. Yeah, we'll stop the continuation. We'll stop the continuation down the line, flash across. If you want to huck it, great, go through the centre of the field. And then, yeah, it was the error, as you correctly pointed out, that gave it back, and that's, yeah, excellently done from Cook, breaking the force into space for Wilson. I think a lot of these players have got that throw. Yeah. Certainly on the backhand side as well, to step into that break. And it is tradition. Most people tend to force flick in windy conditions because the flicks aren't as confident. But then it just seems to make it much easier to break.
And I'm starting to come around to the argument. It's like, no, you should force the backhand, and then you just don't have to worry about the break so much. So it's easier for every other defender.
It depends, like, what the wind's doing, because at one wind, like, there's a certain stage of wind where it's a bit windy, so those flick hucks are tricky, but the backhands are still, like, actually, you know what, they're fine. And then if it ratchets up a bit, there comes the point where actually, if you try and get those break backhands, you tend to pop them up into the wind, and in that scenario you think, actually, we quite like that, so we'll force flick, because if you do want to get the break off, it's going to float and sit, and we back our defenders to contest those sky balls.
Just harder to pull off the precision, as we see Reading.
I think, yeah.
Bricking it.
Often we think about, like, wind as like a dichotomy of it's windy or it's not windy, and there are definitely different stages of wind.
Different geographies as well, based on where we've had this tournament. It's a pretty honest wind here.
I don't know, it told me some dirty secrets I'm not sure I believe. Here's Kalikio to Thompson. Wants to get it off that sideline and does so to Bignall. Leading Nedic into space, maybe a little bit more leading than they wanted, but it worked.
He seemed terrified by that.
Thompson, again through Nedic this time, popped over his head and he couldn't recover.
Taking on a very difficult throw.
It's the first time we've seen that cup up front for deep space, and it worked a treat. But I think it's a good time to pull it with the wind kicking up a gear. Naden against Thompson. Thompson can't prevent the throw to Saville. Now Naden looking towards the end zone. She try and jam it in. No, it's the reset instead. Saville showing the around, finding it. Potter wants to punch it in. Naden comes out. The good red zone stand here. There's the floater though. Archer escaped the defense's clutches. And clearly not feeling the wind chill as deep space go up 10-8.
Escaped the defense's attentions as well, getting remarkably free at the back corner. Fantastic throw from Naden to just remove around all the defenders. You touched on it a little bit during that point. So they brought out a zone. First time we've seen a more traditional zone look. There's been a little bit of switching and such from both teams so far. But that cup asking to take on some of the difficult throws, and you can see Thompson tries to get it through the gap and just overshoots. Deep space quick to respond back. Always want to throw out a zone. I always think the third quarter of a game is a great time to throw out a zone. They've had a whole half. They haven't seen one yet. Perhaps not quite ready for it. You can almost shock them. See the finishing passage. Potter sends around to Naden, and then this is just an incredible throw to Archer, who's jogging, completely lost. I think it was the intentions of Sarah Jeffrey, who might have come to the front corner to help out on the defensive side. Archer takes advantage of it very effectively. Actually, another person with some American experience, played at the University of Southern California for 4 years.
Ah, US. What's the USC program name?
I only know North California. No, USC? No, I have no idea.
I'm going to have to Google that. All I can think of is like the Trojans, but that's obviously like the most of their main.
It's not appropriate
sport
to talk about on stream.
Yeah, I'll think about it. Here's Kemba, it weasels its way through. Deep space with a chance to put a run together.
We've seen runs before in the game.
High grab, really well made by Kovshov.
I love that look, and I think it was certainly on. It didn't come off anywhere near the extent that Kovshov was hoping for. But a hammer over the stack to somebody cutting from the back of it. It's a great look, especially on a continuation, to just immediately switch width. You found out who USC's ultimate team is called?
Yes, the Hellions of Troy. So there was a Trojan theme.
That's actually pretty good.
I'm into that. Tries to break with the backhand. Hutchison instead on the open side. Oh, I thought he was going to pull the trigger, but I think he saw Tate there in coverage and decided maybe that's not quite the player we want defending deep. there's going to be a discussion about whether this is up or down.
A lot of people nearby called down. From a distance, it looked up to me.
Interesting. I thought it might have been down. Let's have a look at it again on the replay, because we can do that.
Oh, that is down, down, down. That's like old school down. Are you right? Am I crazy? That looked very...
That looked down to me.
Yeah. The discussion goes on. You are allowed to send one person over. We have another look. It's very close. It's like where his fingers are, so I can understand how Lewis would feel that way about it. But certainly when we slowed it down and went frame by frame, it looked like it ate dirt.
Like, from Lewis's perspective, I totally see why he thinks it's up.
Yes. You get your fingers under it before you feel like it touches.
But I don't think he has control of this before that hits the floor.
Yeah, that's it. It's control, right? All it has to do is touch a blade.
Even if there's like one really long blade of grass.
I know, I love that little rule, like sometimes a dandelion or something.
I've always thought about trying that if I were to ever be an ultimate groundskeeper. Fisher up against quite a physical mark from Hutchison.
I feel like he just got bumped into travelling by Hutchison and didn't call anything, which is surprising. Oh, maybe called contact, and that's what's led to this discussion.
Is Hutchison wearing a Wool City cap?
They're forced into travelling by the contact. I can't see that from here. That's an incredible set of peepers you got there.
It's all right. We've got the benefit of video. It is.
It is. Yeah, it's a Wool City.
So yeah, I know my onions.
Oh, because they make you cry?
It's just a phrase, mate. Also, I don't really know my onions.
How about scallops?
Again, I couldn't tell you. I know him better than Felix does, though, that's fair.
45 seconds.
Having some slightly more protracted discussions at the moment. Pace of the game has slowed down a notch.
Not unexpected, and worth keeping in mind. This is Deep Space first game of the day.
That is true. They got the morning off because they won their pool. Reading only came a point away from doing that, by the way. They lost on University of Sitache.
And they took care of business this morning. 15-6 against Glasgow.
And you think, well, they should be taking care of business against Glasgow. No disrespect to Glasgow. Well, sure, but then Glasgow beat Lemmings yesterday, and they beat them, by 10-7 in the end. So
Lemmings had a horror show yesterday.
They did, yeah. But even so, they managed to get it done, and Kovshov was looking at the next pass, and it thunders off his chest.
That's probably my biggest pet peeve with turnovers. Focus on the disc until you're done catching it. Every player makes this mistake as well.
I think the one that gets me is players trying to jump in and they drop it. Like
that I find funny.
Catch it first, getting second.
As you can see, the switch has led to a gender switch on the matchups.
Dished off to Lewis. Lewis is opening it up. He's never shy of firing it. And Greer out of the hands quickly. Followed up on the backside by Hagen. And Reading with a protracted hold, but a hold nonetheless.
That is, of course, Alex Mutombo getting that assist. I can't believe how quickly he got that disc off after the catch. Great catch over Tate as well.
Yeah, that's a big man battle right there.
Interesting defense by Deep Space. A couple of switches seem to be limiting the options, and honestly, I think you look back at the tape of that and you're like, yeah, Greer against Tate, you're taking that shot on. That's fine. That's like a 50-50 effectively.
Well, we are comfortable giving that up because as a defense, you can't take everything away, really. And Greer has a step or two and he goes up nice and early and then finishes it into Hagen for the score. But Tate thinks like, you keep putting those up, I'm going to get my fair share of them.
Exactly, and that's, I suppose there's been a fair number of turnovers so far in this game. Most points have had a turnover in it. And
Greer's one of those players who has, extensive mixed division experience before playing with Reading. We were talking about some of those, those storied UK programs. They're not mixed this year, but Smog, of course, in previous years past. Well, they never quite managed to get it done away from home shores. They ruled UKU Nationals in the mixed division for a fair few seasons.
Indeed, the only team to ever send 2 squads to a World Club Championships. And that was 2022.
Smog and Smog Rising.
Then they basically finished like 1 point away from each other as well,
Yeah,
I think, the rankings.
You look at it and think, maybe could you have managed things differently?
Maybe it wasn't we're going to Cincinnati to have a smog training.
But on the other hand, they could say, hey, we sent 2 really competitive teams.
Indeed.
Good pull then, which Cook has to field from inside his own end zone. First pass goes to Cauldron, who's quite isolated. I didn't like the way that Deep Space fielded that pull because everyone else was set way too deep, and the first pass went to Cauldron and no one else adjusted downfield.
So you can see here Reading coming back with a zone of their own, forcing them towards this near sideline.
Inside shot, looking for Naden, enough pressure on it. Colicchio picks up quickly and dishes back to Brew. Jeffrey stretching it wide. Now Nedic wants an option, and that was audacious, to say the least. Hawkyard picks up quickly. Wilson has to go to ground, but does secure it. The wind begins to whip a little bit more. Maybe the strongest it's been all day, but Wilson wants to take the shot on anyway, and it fades out of the far sideline. There looks like there's a stoppage. Stall out, potentially.
Tough throw to get off, especially when you've got the desperation time coming in, which I think makes a bit more sense, because traditionally, if you're trying to get it just to that end zone out of desperation, just float it. Just let it sit at all. If it can be inbounds in the slightest, you've got a chance.
But when the wind whips up a little bit as well, that's even harder to do. They are just going to retract the stall out, and the turnover will stand downfield.
Understandably, yeah, I don't want a contested stall out when you can just take a turnover. We have a quick look around the other fields, Benji.
Yeah, I have. I'll let you know what happened at the conclusion of the point. How does that sound?
Acceptable.
Thanks. Here's Colicchio. Takaria. Continues to Kemp. Lou sticks a tough catch and really pump fakes that backhand. A lot of snap in that one. Slightly cluttered in the reset space. Hangs it up to Nedic. Nedic to Brew. Lou wants to take off all the way through. Colicchio powers underneath. Still rocking the stash. Nedic. He's got Lou in this space if he wants it, and he does. Cauldron trying to prevent Lou from getting any love downfield. She does, but the reset goes, and now Brew. And that is a pick.
So really good job by Reading to isolate their cutters in the space, and then when that gets shut down, you can see someone from the deep space stack marking, trying to step out.
Now Colicchio about 5 yards away from pay dirt. Hawkyard's on the floor, and I think that might be a foul.
So again, it's one cutter at a time and really well timed.
Both trying to plead their case.
Goals really are getting more protracted now. Game tightening up. We're in the 73rd minute. Remember, these are 90-minute games as opposed to yesterday.
Yeah, they've put that 10 minutes back on. Colicchio with the offhand. Good way to fit it through to Nedic. And that is very cluttered and congested. But eventually, Karia.
No, I knew that goal was coming. I knew that goal was
catch.
coming. After being so clean all the way down the pitch in the end zone, just like you say, a mess. Not so much a mass as you like to say of humanity, but a mess of humanity. No clean cuts coming, and then, I mean, I like the help defense. I like the situational clamp, right? You do it, you briefly flash it.
I mean, what's going on there? It's as mad as the box of frogs, to be honest. But I think they are saying that the score is going to stand, and that will be Reading tying things up at 10s.
And this game has had more runs than a track meet. as these teams go back and forth. They traded 3-point runs. They've traded braces now in the second half. Bear in mind we went to an 8-8, so score half. Sorry, even 8-7. It's now 10-10. The game's pace really has dropped down, and out of the two teams, who do you think that would favor more? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's if you keep watching, as a timeout has been called. Benji?
Yeah, 10 apiece then. Deep Space versus Reading, mixed quarter-final action at EUCF 2024. Don't go away.
Yes, he will.
Deep Space 10, Reading 10.
So for the conversation that I wanted to have just before the timeout was called, the pace has definitely slowed down.
And you were asking who this benefits.
Yes. I was asking you, who do you think it benefits? I would personally say, if I'll throw out my opinion first, I would lean towards Reading.
I was thinking that as well. I think as an underdog as well as they are in this game, you know, not that they've not got an incredible successful program, but they've played Deep Space 3 times this season and they've come out on the wrong side, all three of them. That, you know, if you can keep it maybe a little bit bitty, you know, you prevent Deep Space from building up a head of steam. I think that, yeah, I don't think that hurts Reading.
And that's something Deep Space, when they get rolling, they've been really impressive. And Reading have not allowed them to tear away with this game at any point, and it did look like there was a slight threat at one point after they snapped off the 3-point run to go 6-4 up. But Reading came right back at them. And I just think, especially with the way Reading set up their lines, right? They're used to taking breaks. They're used to coming on and having to perform in that moment, where some of the best players on Deep Space, you really think they step up and up as the game goes on if they can play a few points in a row.
Yeah, maybe the fact that, as you mentioned, that Reading, it's not strict O&D lines, they flex around a little bit more, that, you know, maybe keeping teams constantly involved, players constantly involved in that way, is good when points drag on a little bit, so you're not having players off the field for longer periods of time.
Yeah, I just think they're more comfortable in that situation, but we'll see. Sure, the game might pick up pace again.
Yeah. Yeah, we're saying like, oh, it's going to be a slow grind from here on out, but Deep Space, their offense looks like it's coming out smoothly now as they set up that deep shot to Gilboy for the score.
Really, really nicely worked. Is that Hulkyard who stepped into it and launched it?
It was Hulkyard with the put, and it's actually Itamendi. It's 7, not 17 on the receiving end of things.
I was thinking, but Itamendi, you know, always going to be a danger. Exactly, like that's how we recognize a lot of the people.
I mean, you joke, but
I don't joke. That's legitimately sometimes. It's hard to make people out from a distance.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with Hawkyard. Maybe a busted coverage at all, but he was wide open on the far sideline, and I would not want to give that boy a free shot, because he will take it.
He's not afraid to take those shots. I think earlier on,
even if it's not open, sometimes he'll take it.
That's what I was going to earlier on. Some maybe a slightly questionable flick one that he threw, but they recovered well, and they also wind up scoring that point. So Deep Space, great goal to get in and take the lead back. As these teams exchange runs, can Deep Space push it out? We're entering the final 10 minutes shortly. Do you think this game goes 15?
No.
14?
Yeah,
you ready to do a score
right.
prediction?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. Never predict, that way you can never be wrong. Also, you could just, I mean, you could just predict things and be right.
Or
where's the fun in that?
You could make your brand being consistently wrong as a joke.
Or you could pick
wink,
Pelt.
wink.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you honestly, there was a little bit last night where you generally had me believing that Pelt might be.
I still believe.
And then Jakob Tam was fit, and I was like, you know what?
Jakob Tam wasn't fit. Jakob Tam was numb. There's a difference, and I'm worried about him.
He played.
He played. He did play, and he played very well.
Tartu might well be finding themselves in a semi-final.
And there's a lot more than Tam on that team. That is a good team.
Yes, but he is, I think.
He's the best player. Yeah.
He's the best male matching player for sure.
Yes.
This deep space zone that caused Reading trouble last time they brought it out makes sense to use it again. Ray.
But again, the mistake they made was almost falling for the zone. I think it was the shock of the zone. Oh, nope. Once again, Thompson goes for an ambitious flick. That one, she was in a lot more trouble and needed to have something special to get out of it.
That's where you got to draw the thumb at Lorcan.
Yes, you do.
Just saying.
That is true, because a scooper would have been very difficult to pull off there, but it's a really well-constructed zone with the line trap.
It's very, and what I liked about it is that so many times you see those zones, and that front four is so tight, and it's like, this is blatant double teaming. But that time it felt fair. And there are some teams that love that, because they're like, great, put everything near, we'll throw it over the top of you and take more players out. But yeah, even if it's technically not allowed. On the far sideline then, Potter has no force until Klima crunches in. Gilboy fakes. Takes the little pop. Spreading wide is Millard. Brew calls the travel on Naden. Millard clears through. Now up the line, Gilboy past the bidding Brown. He made that look so cool when, trust me, it was not. Heart in mouth stuff at the moment for deep space as Reading apply the pressure. Brown pinching in. Break goes. Potter wants to continue but doesn't see it. Still ticking up. On break side to Tate. Tate just, I think, trying to get the disc moving a little bit quicker now and make the deep space players that extra advantage, because Reading will really have to work and grind and graft. Naden to Tate, how has he caught that? Great feat for a big man. And Tate punches in. Millard with the deep space break as Colicchio is left examining the divots left by Tate.
An indent in the ground, and perhaps something of a stamping on the title hopes for Reading. I don't know how Tate managed to get his hand to that. The honest defense from Reading outside the end zone was really impressive that it lasted that long. They weren't really helping each other out. They were just trusting the force not to get broken and then trying to stay on shoulders. Right before this, Colicchio was the only one who was really trying to body people up. There was a lot of letting them run by and then trying to keep up with their heels, which leads to catches like that. I would have liked to see a couple more Reading players body up deep space if you're going to be trying to play that level of honest.
That's such a good catch from Tate.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it helps when you've got a frankly ludicrous wingspan, right? But still, when you are tall like that, it's tough to get down low because you've got further to go.
And even then, to make the catch, that's one of those instinct ones where the moment starts with you looking at a disc coming towards you and you blink and it's in your hand.
In cricket, it's like a bowler with a caught and bowled, right? It's instinct. You go for it. If it sticks, great. But you just kind of put your hand out and you hope.
Do you like cricket?
Oh, no.
No. Surprising.
I love it.
As right now, deep space responding right back. It's been a trade of braces, like a teenage disco in this second half. 10-8 to deep space, 10-10 to Reading, and now 12-10 to deep space. You think it goes 12-12?
Could well do.
I think it will.
You happy with that one? You were, weren't you?
I was when I was a teenager.
I would be, yeah. So that's good. Might pitch that one. Sorry, I mean lovingly commandeer it. Not the first time an Englishman's done that to an Irishman.
When are we getting those 6 counties back? No, it's fine. If you give me Fermanagh, you can have that.
I'm not touching that political football. No way. Colicchio. It's
brilliant grab.
It's Greer, excuse me. I can't. All the tall people look the same from this far away.
Yeah, we're only used to seeing their chins anyway.
Klima threads the inside through to Wong. Wong now to Lewis. Lewis with that elevator backhand. Kemp has plenty of time to bring it in. And then finds Lewis slashing downfield. Spacing needs to readjust. Kemp gets it on the poach. Wong in the left hand, looking downfield. Hutchison tries to burrow his way up line. Fish can't get that arm around. And Fisher now puts the force back on. Hutchison squeezes it in, and there's not much room to work with down the line, but there was enough for Wong.
That's the irony of their offensive structure, right? So they set up as the 1-6 moving down the pitch, and there's so much space to operate within because both sides of the stack, and also as we saw Lewis do there a few times to great effect, working with a couple of different handlers right in front of the stack as well for some little 7 cuts and then some leading passes to either sideline. But deep space have been able to really ratchet up the defensive pressure. I mean, that's fantastic faking by Hutchison. A lot of experience in those moves. You can throw players open, you can also fake players open, right? And I think that's very much what he did there. It's just the Reading offense seems to pretty consistently get gummed up when it's in that final third, that end zone, the foyer of the field, if you will.
Yeah, it's transitioning from the kind of the open field offense to the red zone offense. I think they've stagnated a bit. Timeout on the field then. Deep space 12, Reading 11, late on in this mixed quarterfinal. Deep space 12, Reading 11. Both sides getting an extra little breather in here. The tension is palpable. Which two of these compatriots, friends, rivals will get a semi-final spot where they face the winner of Seskidistas versus Savage? You were doing some digging. How many timeouts have we got left?
Both teams, I think, have 1 timeout left in this game. That was a Reading timeout, which I love. And the timeout used in this game has been, by and large, brilliant.
This is load up a D-line, isn't it?
It's got to be load up a D-line. Let's just see what kind of personnel they put out there. Is that... Seems like Brew may be handing off the disc. Clicchio is going to be pulling, so that makes it male matching point.
Yep. The other mixed division quarterfinals, one has wrapped up after a close first half. Seskidistas have put Savage to the sword, 15-9 final score. Tartu with a 14-12 lead on Mosquitoes on the other streaming field, while TFC Taucher have a 14-12 lead on Disc Connection. So as that stands, it'll be TFC Taucher versus Tartu Turbulence. It's a lot of T's for you. And Deep Space versus Seskidistas, and that is a mouth-watering quarter-final slate, if ever semi-final slate, if ever I've seen one. Enough sibilance for you there?
That is fantastic.
Caudron collects the pass from Cook, clearly trying to isolate Naden underneath. But it's not there, so they swing to Hawkyard. Hawkyard to Denniston. Ooh, bobbles off the chest. But she looks so composed on the re-grab. Caudron back to Denniston. Hawkyard able to get it in front of Nedic. Into the centre looking for Cook. Back to Hawkyard. Only Cook for company at the moment. Threads it past Lou into Denniston. Now Itamendi stretching it wide and too wide.
Kind of trying to force that one a little bit, and I love the flowing offense. You know I love it when people zigzag down pitches. I'm a big fan of the Badger ball approach to Ultimate.
The what?
Badgers, they move in zigzags.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Wow,
yeah.
I did not know that.
They're also like crazy predators, which
and
you
they
did
are
know.
Britain's largest land carnivore.
Right after me, baby.
That's not how largest works. Here's Thompson. Takaria. Foul called away from the disc. Denniston is just lurking off the back there. I think sensing maybe that Reading might try and bang their way out of this.
I mean, it's getting about to that time. Pull out the big guns. and start shooting. I say that as a commentator, not as a strategist. But I'm getting some confirmation from Reading on the sideline.
The whistle just went for the end of game. So this will be the final point for the cap, and we'll have 12's game to 13 or 13-11 game to 14. As there is the deep shot, Thompson taking it on, looking for Karia. That felt like a nudge in the back to me.
I think I felt that nudge in the back. Egregious isn't quite enough. Let's just have another look here. Nice run. It is floating. The battle is available.
I mean, I've got a lot of time for Max Squires, but you're not. I don't think you're getting away with that one.
He's
Chief.
getting demoted back to Max Page after that one.
On the field behind us, it looks like Tartu have sealed a semi-final spot. So didn't even win the pool, and they are going into the. In fact, they only won one pool game.
No, they came second.
I know.
Oh, you're right though, because of the three-way tie. Yeah.
And they've got hot in the bracket. And that's what you can do.
It's also a tough pool, in fairness to them.
Yeah, lost to Nulact on Universe, but
Nulak's sneaky good. I don't understand them.
But then they got relatively shellacked by Sky This, who Tartu themselves had beat comfortably in the morning.
And that was the play that kept Sky This in the tournament.
The other mixed quarterfinals has wrapped up as well, by the way. TC Taucher overcame Disconnection 15-12.
Going on a bit of a run to see that game out towards the end, as we have another look at what, to maintain our tone, would be a foul. So that's going to be contested and going to go back. I
don't think Squires needs to do it, is the thing. I think if he keeps this line, he's got a better position, but he did do it.
Do you think maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that was sold slightly by Withers? Felt the contact, jumped himself? Who knows? I certainly don't.
That's low. That's superbly scooped by Lou. He's been quietly very impressive. Jeffrey. Hutchison trying to come off the front. Colicchio now instead. Can't hook up with Karia there. Thompson scuttles around. Just a little toss into Jeffrey, short-handed past the bit of Denniston. Players crowding into that front cone. Oh, Jeffrey got Denniston biting on the force, and Hutchison just about hangs on. And Hutchison to Lou for Universe.
That's what we all came to see, and you touched on it during the point, Lou, picking up first stat of the game, but has been an engine for them, the former Leamington Lemmings player. Just doing that underwork, doing that tireless and so vital cutting that gets you, just keeps the momentum going, just keeps you ticking along. Once again, what did you expect with a 2-point response by Reading? I just thought this game would probably end 14-12 as we have another look. It's just some good work. Dump swinging, pull everybody across, throw your mark to the floor. Oh. That seemed to be perhaps a bit of karmic rebalancing.
And then into Lou. Finally getting some reward for her hard work. On the stat sheet, that is. I'm sure her teammates know her contribution. We will get a timeout here. Don't worry, we're not going to go anywhere. We're staying with the action. 12 apiece. Universe point. A reminder that this is the 4th meeting between these two sides this season. Of the previous 3, 2 have gone to Universe. And so it feels only fitting that we've got Universe here. A reminder, though, that Reading have come up on the losing side of all those encounters, but they've just had 2 on the bounce. Do they have the, maybe, do they have the vibes with them at the moment?
Nah, I'm still picking Deep Space. We will wait to see which one of us will be right after this.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
12-12, universe point, sudden death, DGP, next goal wins, whatever you want to call it. Only one of these sides can continue their quest for another European crown. The other will have to contend themselves in the final, in the finals, excuse me. 12s. You've got to think Deep Space are the favourites here. They're the reigning European champions. They've won every matchup this season, including in the UKU national final. They're receiving as well. They're going downwind. Everything seems to be set up in their favour. They've got Itamendi, Hawkyard, Squires, Tate out there, as well as Caudron, Naden and Denniston. For Deep Space, see Klima, Thompson, Colicchio, Lewis, Brew, Greer, Caria. First year for Caria on Reading, and really kind of at this level as the swing from Squires is overshot. Reading, surely not. It's Brew. Sideline calls for calm. Good luck. Thompson, oh, it scuttles through. Deep Space get another shot. Hawkyard to Denniston. Now Tate underneath, up against Greer. That's a pick. Deep breaths, everyone.
Yeah, calm on the sideline. I don't think it's possible to be calm right now. Hawkyard in a big moment for the young player. Stepping outside there with real veterans.
I mean, he has, you know, he's got championship experience, of course, was a university champion at the University of Sussex.
I don't think that counts.
The most successful university program in UK history. There you are, alongside his wife, Sarah.
Here we go, are you? Let's go, Spain! 3, 2, 1!
Tate. Dishing forward for Denniston. Naden now. As they advance into the red zone. Denniston wants the around break. Brew might have just got a hand caught in the cookie jar there. Accepted foul.
You know, after some elongated calls in kind of the middle part of the game, it's been pretty quick. The pace did pick back up after 10-10.
Yeah, and I think maybe the timeout helped actually a little bit, where you just get a chance to gather yourself. It's a floater, but Denniston always had position and gets a bump from Klima.
I don't know about that foul call, because now Klima gets to set up in position.
I think Deep Space is saying, look, this is calm. As long as it takes, we'll just make good decisions. Squeezes it through to Hawkyard. Hawkyard looking around, finding it to Itamendi. Nice high catch with the offhand to Denniston. And Deep Space advance and break Reading hearts. And we'll see them in the semi-final.
Again, it's that brilliant move. We saw them finish off, well, by them I mean specifically Itamendi earlier in the game. He catches it just outside the end zone, turns, and the offhand backhand to the uprushing handler or somebody from the handler position. It was Denniston that time. Deep Space, as close as these games are, they keep winning them. There has to be something to that. That is a fighting champion. Commiserations to Reading. They gave it everything. It's been an impressive season, but they fall at the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they came so close, but again, Deep Space just about had their number. And we're going to try and wrap things up quickly, because the next game gets started pretty sharpish. The semi-final slate then is TC Taucher versus Tartu Turbulence. Deep Space advance. They will take on Seskidistas in the semi-final later this afternoon. And delighted to say that if you have your EUF subscription on Solid Sport, then you can watch both mixed semi-finals coming up at 4 o'clock local time, and so that is 1 hour 45 minutes time. Up next here we've got Moon Cup versus Iceni, Wall City versus Chat going on behind us. For Lorcan Murray, Benji Reese, we'll see you on the other side.